Well, I'm in blue sky over here in Germany, so
Lovely stuff. How long have you been in Germany for now?
coming up to 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah, or a little bit longer maybe. 2008, I came over. We'll say it like that.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out then.
Right. So before we get into your current situation of being in Germany, why don't we take it back a bit and tell us a bit about yourself and how your interest in baseball first started?
I was 6 years old when my dad took me to Cartmel, to the Cartmel Valley Lions, and he used to play for the men's team, and then it slowly got less and less players for them, and they started a kids team and kids leagues, and they got involved like that. My dad took me along just once in a while, and I joined in, and I kind of liked it after that. And I started when I was 6, and I played through until I was 16 for Cartmel, or 15, and then, but that's how I got started, just playing for my village team. So yeah.
What is some of your favorite memories of playing for Cartmel?
No stress. It was all just a bunch of friends get together. We'll do what we want to do, and then we'll go home after 2 hours training. I mean, it wasn't really a training; it was just a get together, really. So there was no training, there was no plan. It was just, let's get together, guys, have fun, and then we'll go home again.
That's cool. This year, I'm playing for Manchester. We've had the fixtures come out, and Cartmel are not on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't think they've been able to field the team. How important has Cartmel as a baseball club been to you? And like, it'd be pretty sad if they didn't get a squad back together for next season.
Oh, it was the setting stone, really. Cartmel. If you think of it, a little village or lots of little villages all to get together, and it all started with, I don't know how many years ago, 30 odd years ago, with a farmer. And that's a starting stone for me, really, to go there and to play for them. And then we got to travel around and play against Manchester, Liverpool, and play against these teams. And it was just a stone, really, just to start it. It's a shame that Carmel really can't get a men's team going. And I know they had the last couple of years, a men's team, and it is a shame that a men's team can't really get together. But I hope there's enough kids teams there for kids to do something else. It's all just football and cricket and rugby and baseball. It is really an outside sport for England, and yeah, it's a shame.
What were some of your favourite away days when you were playing in Britain?
Oh, away days. Playing on the road, then would have been, I think it was in Liverpool or Runcorn? They had those tournaments.
Yeah.
They were good. They were my best. All for the Final Four with for the Pony team or the Bronco team, Final Four. Going down, we always used to go down south and play in the Final Four there. And just really, it was more of I wouldn't say a shock for us as the Cartmel team, but it was more just to see how the teams in the south, how they used to have it with, they had 15, 20 players on a team. They had the coaches were all dressed up in the uniform. Everyone looked the same. And then we're strolling out the cars with 10 players. And my dad was the coach. He had his work clothes still on. And, it was half tattered up jeans and a bit of putty rubbed on him here and there. So, it was more of you could say it was a culture shock, really. Seeing, how these kids get here. And, we did all right, but culture shock, pretty much.
That's interesting. So how did your dad get involved with baseball? Since it sounded like he took over as coach or was the coach at Cartmel.
Yeah, he was friends with a farmer, and the farmer, how I know the story, the farmer went to America on holiday, watched the game, fell in love with it there, brought it back home, called up a couple of friends, and they all met up the school field to play catch, hit a couple of balls around. And then after a while, they looked into it and they found out that there was a league, and they got involved like that. And that's how the league all started. And then they played a couple of seasons in the league on the school field where they still play. And And that's how it all got going, really. Just basically, a farmer got it going for him.
That's cool. Now, is it true that you never used to watch baseball?
It's still true.
You've never watched baseball? Never watched
No, it never really got into. I watched the highlights here and there.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know, something happens and it'll come up on these MLB highlights. But other than that, I've never watched a game on TV. Nah, nothing for
I
me.
find that really it's curious, because if you look at the way that most kids get involved in sports, it's either by watching somebody or watching a favorite player. I mean, I was like walking through Salford the other day and I saw a young lad with a Juventus full strip on, and I was just thinking, how does he know about Juventus? He probably watches it on TV, and like the Sunday morning sports shows you used to have on over here, which is like Trans World Sport and all that sort of stuff, where he's had a plethora of different sports on display.
Well, go back a couple of years. I mean, baseball wasn't on the TV, and then if you wanted to watch it, well, I was too young to stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning, so my mum would have to then stay up until 1, record it on an old cassette, you know, on the old, not the DVDs, the ones before that, and you had to record it, and then you could watch it the next day or something. But I don't know, it just never really got into a thing where I say, Mum, could you stay up tonight and record this for me? So I could, and the internet wasn't there either, so I never watched on the TV, and now it doesn't interest me either. So it never has. But
what was it then that kept you interested in the sport? Was it just you loved playing at a young age and kept going?
I loved going to the field, to the school field, and hitting balls at the school. So in left field, it was the bottom windows. I can't remember what they were, but I know the top windows used to be our mathematics classroom, and that was our left field wall. So if you hit a ball to left field, you had to hit those windows and try and break them. But and we all used to go into left field, and everyone gets a bucket of balls. That was our BP. Everyone gets one bucket of balls, and you got to hit the school field pretty much, or the school. And then we would have someone bring Haribo's, and everyone would be in the outfield, only in left field because no one hit to right field. So it was everyone was pull everything, and hit the school wall.
Did you like school and maths?
Hated it.
Do you think that's what made you into such a great player then? Just your determination to hit those windows and hit your building?
Well, I wouldn't say I was great, but into having fun playing the game. Yeah, I was horrible at school. I hated it. I dreaded every day going to school, and my last two so year 11 and year 10, I got took out of class. I got put into another class what did sport, so I didn't do history. I got took out of that, and here you do cross country running with year 10 or year 9. Yeah, I got took out of geography. You go cross country running with year 8. It's all right. So I never really. So I hated school, and sport was the only thing what I really loved doing, and so that's probably why. Yeah, I like to go out, but for baseball, it's just I love to go out there and hit some balls. That's all.
Yeah. Were there any other sports that were in competition for your for baseball spot?
Football. Yeah, I played for the Grange district football, and then one in what were they called it? I played for 2 teams at the same time, and then after that I went to Myerscough College and played for the college team there. I played football for them as well. So,
were you any good?
I did all right. Yeah, I did have. No, I was. I wouldn't say diagnosed, but I was born with dyslexia.
Okay.
And then so reading and writing was always a struggle. And then I played football for the under 17s. That is the learning disability England team. I played 3 years for the learning disability team for England. Yeah, so I did all right.
That's great.
So
going back to the baseball stuff, how long was it before you ended up moving to? Did you move to Germany and then started playing in Germany, or did you make the leap to play baseball in Germany?
No, I was playing what? I was playing baseball in England. I played for Manchester Eagles and A's.
Yeah.
Until I was 16, and then I moved to Germany at 17 to play baseball for Regensburg. And well, in Regensburg, my first year was just to see if I liked it and see if I could, keep up with the rest of the guys. I did all right, and I moved on to the first team 2008. I didn't play. I sat on the bench the whole season in 2008. That's when they won their first championship, and I sat on the bench, won the first championship. And 2009, I was like, I want to come back play again. Spoke to the coach. He was like, okay. Sat on the bench the whole season again. I came in. I think I pinch runned 2 or 3 times. And then 2010, the coach said, we're losing a guy for second base. Would you want to come in for another season? That's when I was like, all right, this is it. And then 2010 was the first season where I started. And luckily, we won the German championship there. And it all kicked off from there, really, with 2010 to 2013, we were German champions, and no, it was great.
Cool. What was it that inspired you to move to Germany to play?
The next level, to see if I could play at the next level, and coaches kind of pushed me into that direction. The old GB head coach, Sam Dempster, he was our envoy coach. What we used to have, I don't know if it still is that still in England? They have envoys come over for 6 weeks or whatever, and they coach kids from like America or Canadian coaches. They'll come over for 6 weeks and coach teams around their district. And Sam Dempster did it in England, and he was in the Lake District a lot. And I spoke to him a lot about it, coming over to maybe going to Canada and playing there for his college team, the Durham Knights, or what are they're called. And he pushed me more into going to Germany and playing for the Regensburg team, because we were also in contact with Tom Gillespie. And funny enough, I was over with the under, I can't remember which, was it the cadets or juniors or something, with the Great Britain national team, the under 18s, I think it was. We were training in Regensburg at the time when I was talking to Sam Dempster, and I was about 15, 16, thinking about doing something. And the second day I was in Regensburg, we were playing volleyball on our half a day off, and I stepped on glass. I ripped my foot open, and I was in hospital. And then the whole week we were there for training, I was on crutches. And that's how I actually got speaking to the coach in Regensburg about coming over, and that's how it all started, really. So,
oh wow, what an instant! Like,
Tom Gillespie was there, and he was like, he spoke to the head coach from the second team, and he was the head coach then from the first team as well. He was the head coach from both. And I've got a guy here, he won't mind coming over, trying it. What do you think? And then the coach, like, has he got it? Can he do it? And so that's Tom. I have pretty much Tom Gillespie and Sam Dempster and Will Linton pushed me a little bit in that direction.
Yeah.
So then 3 really, they pushed me into going to Germany. And they helped me out a lot, speaking to the coaches there. And so, yeah.
How hard or how easy was it for you to settle into the new environment?
More hard than easy. It was the language barrier. I didn't speak any German. So, and I still had my northern accent. So that was a rough one for the people there to understand. And I lived in a boarding school there. In Regensburg, they had like a sports academy for the baseball players, and I lived there for 3 years first. But it was a big difference, and my parents weren't there, so really so the first time living away from home was in Myerscough College, but that was only during the weeks. On the weekends, I went home, but that was full on every day. I'm on my own, and it was a big difference. But a lot of training with the coaches in the gyms, and then just the next level. It wasn't the next level up from playing baseball. It's like another 5 levels higher, and they took everything in Germany they take everything really serious. So a big difference.
Yeah. Do you think having a decent mindset helped you to step up then in terms of the differences?
Yeah, So having a mindset, what my parents all gave me, they're the blue collar workers. So, my dad and my mom, they both worked every day. They didn't have a behind the office job, behind the desk. My dad was a joiner and my mom had a cafe, and, they worked every day. And having that mindset, you got to get up every day, you got to work. If you don't work, then you're not going to get what you need. And so having that mindset, you got to push yourself, you got to work, was big, I think. And I was a very small and scrawny guy coming over, and having these other kids over here in Germany, some of them are some big guys, and trying to keep up with them was a struggle, but working hard and you get there.
So what changes did you make then to try and adapt your game to sort of compete with the other kids?
Waking up earlier than them, going to the gym a lot more than them, and spending a lot of time with the coaches downstairs in the batting cage, or listening to the older players. Trying to find that guy that's your role model and try and follow him and see what he does, and try and get in that mindset of, okay, they're better than me, but why? And then trying to get over that and try and beat them at what they're not doing. So
yeah.
So whatever they're doing, okay, you're doing it as well. But then, what's the next step? How are you going to beat these people for your position? And it was a job pretty much. And, how are you going to get better than the other people is working harder. And that's what I had to do.
Interesting. So which coaches and players then did you look up to?
Players in Germany, I had, there was a guy at third base, Ludwig Glaser. He played for the Angels in the minor leagues. And he was the infield guy that I was like, okay. And I looked up to him, and, I had a couple of guys in the outfield for the first team that I also looked up to, and Cedric Basel and Klaus Hopsensberger. These guys, those two really took me underneath the wing, and they looked after me a lot. And so said he did anyway. He was always there for me, and he was my best man at my wedding. But no, them two, they really looked after me. They always spoke to me and see if everything's okay. And Cedric always took me then shopping if I needed it, or they were always there if I needed to talk. And those three guys, they really looked up to me, looked after me, and I looked up to them. And then through the years, I got to know then another guy. I'm still best friends with him now, Mike Bolsenberg. He still plays for Heidenheim now, and they were really the guys I really looked up to, and they looked after me and was great. Yeah.
So after you played in Germany, hang on a minute. When did you first get called up to the GB squad?
Oh, I was for the GB men's or GB altogether.
Altogether.
I was 10. I went up through the ages. I started with 10. And I went up through every single age group there. And then for the men's team, I started in 2009. It was my first tournament for the men's team.
And which tournament was that? Was that the?
It was like a Four Nations Cup, and it was, I can't remember who played it. It was the Four Nations Cup in. You asked me that, I don't know. 2009 was my first tournament for the GB men's team. Yet the Four Nations Cup. And then my first real tournament was then, was then the Euros in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
That was in Stuttgart. And then 2012 in Holland, and then the World Baseball Classics in Regensburg in 2012.
Which are some of your favourite memories from playing for GB?
Oh. Well, it's got to be then the World Classics. So, all the World Cup, actually, the World Cup in 2009, that was it. So the Four Nations in 2008, the World Cup in 2009. I mean, all of the World Cups. So 2009, the World Cup. I remember we were on a train going to Croatia, playing against Japan, and then we were sat in the lobby of the hotel watching the Germany-Venezuela game, and Germany had to lose by 10 runs or 11 for us to go through to the next round, and they lost to like 12-11 or 12-1. They lost so by 11 runs, and we were all going crazy. And then the coach was like, we got to get on a plane. We're playing the next day. So we got on a plane, flew over to Holland. The next day we played Cuba. And that was wild. That was a wild thing. And I was what, 18? And that was the only thing where I say, okay, it's a shame I didn't know anything about the game, because there was players that, Cuba, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, South Korea, Japan, playing against these, and I didn't really care about any of it. So
Do you think in a way that sort of helped you by not knowing who some of the players were? Because I know from speaking to other guests that there was some big names on the field. Do you think that not knowing who they were, you were just like regular dudes?
Oh yeah, I think so. At the same time, I think it's a shame now looking back on it and saying, poor, I wish I took their photo, or I wish, I got a ball signed from him, but other than that, no, I think it helped. I mean, not really giving a damn about who they really are. So yeah, I mean, I remember playing in it was in Regensburg 2012 for the World Classics. We were in the hotel in Regensburg, and the Canadian team was also in the hotel. And I was sat on a computer, and a Canadian guy came sat next to me. And we got speaking. He was like, "Yeah, he's in a Yankee organization." And then he was like, "Who you play for?" I'm like, "I play for the local team here, and I'm a landscape gardener. I do this part time." I mean, then that night we played against Canada. I met him at second base, the same guy, and he was like, "Jesus, I work full time as a landscape gardener. I do 40, 50 hours as a landscape gardener. I play at night times. I play against these pro guys." So, but other than that, no, I think it helps. Not knowing who these guys really are, but at the same time, it is a shame that I didn't know who they were, and
Oh well, we live and learn.
Yeah, meeting some famous baseball players, and then you got to ask who they are or what they do. It's not always the best.
No. Well, I find myself in similar circumstances doing that with the show. Like, I've only been in the game for 3 seasons now, and everyone knows everyone within British baseball.
Yeah,
and I know.
No, I was in the 2008 when I was at that MLB camp. There was, they were the Lee Smith and Barry Larkin and Rod Carew. They were all there, and you sit there, and I sat on the bench with Barry Larkin. I got injured at 2 days, I think, from the camp where I was, and I asked him who he was and who he played for, which team, and he told me to F off. But I mean, you asking the guy what's in the Hall of Fame who he was, top 50 players in Europe, and it's like, it's like. But I didn't know who he was, so I mean, I was only trying to be polite.
Indeed. If anything, he was really rude.
I thought so too, but I met him 2 years later at the next camp. It was in Regensburg, and he came over and spoke to me and said, how am I doing, everything. Everybody else was shocked that he knew me, but how I saw it always, if they don't know me, I don't need to know them. I mean, it's not going to help me knowing the batting average from some dude in America. So.
No, very true. Very true. What was that 2008 MLB European Academy like? Can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, it was organized for pure on baseball, for people to know how. There were scouts there every day looking how you acted, how you got to the field, were you sloppy, and just getting to really know you. And you got combed through, really, every day. From, I think we started like 9 a.m, we started training, then we had games in the afternoon, but you only got this short amount of time to show how you could do it in a game or in training and stuff. So you could say you're a little bit under pressure. You really wanted to show what you could do, and then when you didn't perform, or it didn't go your way, then you feel like you've lost it. And but it was good, meeting all these other coaches, giving lots of advice, and it was good. It was just a shame I got there when I was too old, really. But I was 18, so those other kids there were 15. Well, I was like, if I was here when I was 15, I had a couple. Maybe I could have gone again, maybe one more time, and showed what I got. But no, it was good.
Excellent. Any more European adventure stories you want to share with us?
Oh, good or bad? I mean,
Both.
a lot of crazy stuff has happened. I mean, funny, I don't know why it always happened to me, but I mean, I've had Liam Carroll, the head coach from the national team when he was head coach. I've had him shout at me once or twice. I was one time he was they were at a meeting. The players went to their rooms and I got given the wrong key card from the hotel. And I went up to my room and I put down my suitcase and everything. And I got to the room. I thought, wow, I'm going to go for a shower. And, took off my clothes, got the TV on. We're over in Holland and I found German TV and I started to understand a bit of German then. So I popped the German TV on and I was lying on bed with a robe on, naked. And the door goes and Liam Carroll and Alan Dean walked through the door, started swearing at me, saying, what are you doing here in our room? I'm like, this is my room. I'm lying there with a robe on from one of those two guys. So I don't know why it always happened to me, but nah, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of road trips. So a lot of early breakfasts with Alan Dean.
Yeah, he messaged in one of the list of questions. It says, ask him about breakfast question time with Richard on Great Britain trips, especially questions about pennies and the moon.
Oh, what was that again? I always had a question for breakfast. It was something, just how many pennies do you think it takes from the Earth to get to the moon? And then, just absolute ridiculous things where he would look at me for about 5 minutes, thinking, "What is going on in your head at 6 o'clock in the morning?" So, yeah, it was. It took us a while, that one. We actually figured it out, I think, at the end. We measured how thick a penny is and then how high, But no, Dino, he gave me a couple of looks in the last, I don't know how many years I've known him, just thinking, what is going on in your head? Just, oh, good God.
So how many pennies does it take?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to figure that one out again.
Right, that's my afternoon sorted. Other questions that have come through from listeners, I'll do these now while we're on them. Zach Pye O'Boyle has asked, talk about batting practice at Cartmel with no L screen.
That was the thing. Also, we never had an L screen back at Cartmel. It wasn't the thing. I don't even think it existed. No one really knew anything about an L screen, and it was just literally on the mound was my dad throwing BP to everybody, and you would hit all the balls because everyone pulled, so you didn't really need anything up the middle for an L screen, and we didn't have any screens at all really. So our cage behind the batter was an old helmet rack, and all the balls used to fly in there, and it was. My dad was like, "All right, last one," and I don't know, I hit it. I was like, "Go on, one more," and he was all right. And he threw one more, and I hit that one square back at him. Got him right in his forehead.
Oh.
He broke his. I think he tried to stop it, broke his finger, and got him right in the middle. Right, smack bang him right in the middle. He had 2 black eyes for a couple of weeks.
How much trouble did you get him for that?
A fair bit, I think. He wasn't happy.
I can't imagine it would be.
No, and I think then a year later, that was when I think we met Sam Dempster again. He came back for a second year, or that was his first year there, and he heard about it, and he was like, and he welded an L screen for us back at my dad's workshop. That was our first L screen we ever had.
So it could be in a British Baseball Museum.
It's probably still around somewhere. It was out of old pipes, so I mean that thing was heavy though, so we weren't carrying that thing around much. So it didn't have wheels either. It was just old pipes with 2 pipes at the bottom. That thing was heavy though, yeah. No, that was the first time where we thought, well, what's an L screen, and we figured out after that.
This is part of your workout for the day, carrying that thing.
It was. I mean, it was a trek as well. The field was on the other side of the school field, and then we had our hut. It was at the other side, and we had to carry everything from one side to the other. And my dad, he used to have a yellow van, and we used to put it all on the back of there and drive over the field. And we used to hang on the back and let our legs raggle along the floor.
Alex Malahudis has asked Richard about red wooden clogs.
I can't remember. we used to go to Holland, I think, every other year for the Euros. And one year I said, I need some wooden clogs. And we went out, as you do, you got a night out or whatever. So we all go out to the city of Amsterdam, and I found a store where they sold wooden clogs, and I bought some. They were bright red, like they were some red clogs, and I had them on. I had them to go into breakfast and everything. They were gorgeous.
Were they comfy?
No, not at all. But I bought another pair. I bought another pair a couple of years after that. They were all right. I still got them at home.
Brilliant. John Crammon said, no questions. Just want you to tell him he's a legend and one of the best teammates he's ever had.
Oh, Crammon was a teammate of mine. I don't know. I think I was about 12 the first time I met him, started playing with him. And, we played with each other all the way up till, I think it was my last tournament he was with us. Or the one before that, I can't remember, 2016, I think I played with him. So, it's been a couple of years, but I've known him now.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like him.
Mm.
Back to my questions then now, being selfish, got rid of the listeners' questions out of the way. You hit your only home run for GB in the 2016 Euros. Was that a moment to savor or?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, 2016 Euros was my best tournament I ever had. I mean, I don't know what was going on, but the balls were dropping for me, and I was hitting good, and my batting average was really high, and I was happy with that. And I know it was against Greece, and I was going up to hit. I was 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 or 4 for 5, something like that. And Liam Carroll, can I swear on this or not?
Yeah, go on then.
I was going up to hit, and Liam Carroll stopped me, turned me around, looked me in the eyes, went, "Stop being an absolute pussy." And I was shocked, and I was like, "What?" And then the guy got out. I was straight up next, and I didn't get any swings in nothing. And I was in my head thinking, "What is he doing? I'm not ready. What is this?" I was angry at him. First pitch came, swung out my shoes, hard as I could, hit it over the fence, ran around the bases, got in, looked him in the eyes, and went, "Don't ever call me that again." And that was it. We didn't speak after that the whole game, and it was unbelievable.
Well, these stories about Liam that didn't know he knew such language.
I know, right? I wasn't prepared for it. I was getting my helmet on, and the guy was up to hit, and I was on deck, and I was ready to get going. He grabbed me, and I'm like, "What are you stopping me for now?" And then he, stopped. I was shocked, and then the guy got out real quick, and I had to be quick getting up to the plate, and I wasn't ready, and just swung out my shoes. First pitch.
That's cool. What is one of the greatest challenges you faced as a player?
Adapting to the game. Just starting off as a young guy and not really know the game was just so quick, and learning, to go up there, you got to breathe, you got to relax. And that was the greatest challenge. And knowing you can hit the ball square, perfect, you can do everything right, and it's going to go right at some guy. And you're thinking that can happen 10 times in a row. But adapting to that and knowing this is going to happen, you can't always do it right, and trying not to get frustrated with yourself. I was on edge the whole time. I was very easy to get angry, and I would get angry at myself, and it never helped. It got worse, and it built it all up, and it didn't really help. And knowing, as a veteran, and then I started to get, a little older veteran type, and knowing, it's going to happen. But if I stay with it and stay with what I know and just go through it all, it's going to turn around. And that took time though.
Yeah. Did your teammates choose to try and wind you up deliberately then, knowing that?
No, because it was never good what I did. So
how did you then channel that sort of negative energy into positive, or how did you deal with it?
Speaking to all the veteran guys, like how did it, trying to ask the right question. It was like, how do you handle this situation if this happens, or what do you do different if this happens? And and they would also try this, or when you go up to hit, breathe or relax, or don't try and change too much at once. And then, then it was the finals or the playoffs, and it was like, this is what got you here already. You're already on the starting 9. This is why you're on the starting 9. So why are you trying to change it now? Yeah, but I'm 0 for 5. It doesn't matter. You got here because you've been doing this. So there's no point changing it now. You don't need to change anything. If you want to change something, change it in the winter season. And, just having them say, it looks stupid when you start throwing a helmet or, shouting at yourself, doesn't help the team. But the veteran guys on the team, they take some of 2 or 3 guys underneath the wing, and that helped, just talking to them and asking, what do they do?
Yeah. Interesting. Going back a few years, you decided to retire at the age of 24 in 2014. Mm-hmm. How hard a decision was that to make?
It was very hard. I mean, very emotional. I didn't really want to do it, but at the same time, it was like, okay, I have to look at I was just finishing off my apprenticeship as a landscape gardener, and it was a rough one trying to finish it off in another language, and it was okay. I can't handle both at the same time, and I didn't really know what to do at the same time. Like, I didn't know who to speak to. I didn't really have a person to talk to. I was with my girlfriend, now she's my wife, but I spoke to her, but it just didn't really, she didn't, or I couldn't really get through to her what I was going through or thinking about. So no, it was very it was a not dark place, but it was rough. It was a hard thing to do. And I finished off, I think, 3 games in the season. I was like, all right, I've got to stop it right here, and that's what happened. Yeah.
But then you came out of retirement for Great Britain. But who or what was it that made you decide to put your cleats back on?
It was the year, coming up to the end of the season for in the Bundesliga, and I was talking to the Munich team, and my wife, or she was my girlfriend, and she moved to Munich for work, and I was finishing off my apprenticeship. When I finished it, I moved to Munich as well, and I was training with the Munich team, and I'd finished the apprenticeship. I'd passed everything. My wife was like, "Are you sure you want to, finish it off?" And I was like, I'll do another year, and that's how it all really started off again. And I was happy that I did, really. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So are you retired now, or are you still waiting for a phone call?
I'm done. I'm retired. I've finished, and I've not put on a pair of cleats or picked up a glove in the last 3 years. So
do you miss it?
A little bit. So when the season gets going again, and you watch the highlights or something, and I've got a couple of friends that play for lower teams or lower leagues, and they come out and throw for one. Nah, so I kind of do miss it, but at the same time, it's I'm still happy at home. So
yeah, that's cool. Last couple of questions for me before we finally wrap. Is there a baseball card of yourself, and if so, have you seen it?
I've got 3 or 4 at home.
Have you?
Yeah. Regensburg used to do it back in the day. They used to have baseball cards of players. You could go to the fan shop and buy, and then kids, you could buy them, then go down. You can sign them and everything for the kids. And I've got a couple at home. So the next to my little box I've got at home, what my wife says I can have, and I've got old baseballs and the German championship rings and stuff. They're all in there.
So you got like a little keepsake of all your favorite baseballing memories, I suppose.
Yeah. So my only one hit I got in the World Classics, or my home run for GB, or the German championship rings, and they're all in there.
Which of your championships was most special to you?
Probably the first one and my last. So the first one because it's my first season starting, and that was something special. And then my last one, of course. So
how would your coaches and teammates describe you?
Wow. Easygoing, doesn't know a thing about the game, but does what he's told. I think that's it. Those 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very easygoing, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
But you have to keep it simple.
Keep it
So
simple.
the coach comes out with these signs and colors and whatever. Nah, forget that. It had to be simple.
And finally, who's on your Mount Rushmore? Mount Rushmore of British baseball people.
Ah,
I've actually got one more as well for you, if you want to think about that one for a minute.
you mean my Mount Rushmore is like looking at people, I looked up to them.
Yeah. It's like the 4 people that made the biggest difference to you, or that mean the most to you.
I can think of 2 right now.
Go on.
And they played in Germany as well. And
That's fine.
they kind of like looked after me back in the really 2008, 2009. They were there, and it was Sam Whitehead and Chris Falls. I mean, they both played in Germany, and Chris Falls was in Mannheim, and Sam Whitehead was in Heidenheim. And I played with Sam. He was shortstop for the national team, and I was at second base. And they really looked after me, and I mean, there's a lot of guys that really, they were always there. And Brad Marcelino, he's been on the national team for a long time. And Craig Pycock, he's got a couple of stories about me, probably. He always came out with some silly questions, and I gave him a good answer back. But no, the guys that played in Germany with me, and but Sam Whitehead, Chris Falls, they were, I looked up to them a lot. So yeah.
Cool, lovely. And what does baseball mean to you, and why are you grateful to the game of baseball?
I'm grateful for it because it got me out here. I'm living in Germany now, and I got a wife and two beautiful children, and I'm grateful for that. It got me to where I am right now, and I'm not playing baseball no more, but I mean, it got me to here, and yeah, that's why I'm grateful for it. It means family, pretty much. You've always got, you're on the team with friends, pretty much, but at the same time, you stand next to them like brothers. You see them every day. You're on the road with them every weekend, and you're traveling a fair bit in the buses, and you're going 4, 5, 6 hours every weekend to the next game, and so you're with these guys a lot, and it's just like a family, really. One day you're happy with them, the next day you absolutely hate them, but you got to talk it out, and that's what baseball is, really. It's a big family.
Cool, lovely. Richard, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. It's tradition on here to give the final word to the guest. So any thanks, shout outs you want to give, the floor is all yours.
Oh, I'll have to say shout out to my family back home, and good luck to my brother. He's getting his first child tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant.
So his wife's having a C-section. She's having it tomorrow. So big shout out to him. I hope everything goes well, and hope to see him all soon. I'm coming over in May to see the whole family, first time in a couple of years, and I hopefully we'll have a good time when I'm over there. And then a big shout out also to my wife over here, and to my 2 children as well. And then last one, then a big shout out to all the English teams over in England, and all the players over there. I know everyone's training hard for the new season, and it's beautiful to see how England's changed in the baseball ways, and that the leagues are all getting better, and everyone's working a little bit harder, and it's nice to see.
Excellent. Richard, thank you very much for your time. And
yeah, thank you for having me on the show.